Hi friends, in today's video we will see how to change name in Ontario if you are an adult. There's a separate video for child which will be there in the link which is given in the description, and also on my website I have organized all links for you to easily navigate and find the videos. So make sure you're checking the website. Now on this page you see here you can go for an adult name change, child name change. So here, since we are talking about adult name change, click here and you see here before you apply you can change your name as adult if you are 16 years of age or older. So if it is 16 years of age or older, then you can apply as adult, and then having lived in Ontario for the past 12 months. So you need to meet these two criteria for adult application. And in addition, if you are between 16 or 17 year old, then you need to have a consent from every person who has legal custody of you before you can change your name. We'll see that in the part 3 of the application in case you are 16 or 17 year old. Then if you're married or have signed a joint declaration of conjugal relationship document, then you must give your partner spouse notice that you're changing your name, and you must also complete this part 2 application which we will get to see. Then when it comes to the police record check, we will talk about when this will get used and when it is not required. So we will go through this, and to apply you have to download the application for change of adult name which you can find here, and this will open in Acrobat Reader. So download the Acrobat Reader, the free version, and once you click you come to this page. Okay, so come down and you have English and French version. This is the form number which is given, and download. So the form has been downloaded and there are 19 pages here. You see here 1 to 19. Now depending on your situation you will be filling these parts, part 1 to 7. Part 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be filled by everyone. Part 2 will be filled only if you are either married or have a joint declaration of conjugal relationship. And part 3 will be filled, that is consent for name change, only if applicant is 16 or 17 year old and is not married. So with that, let's go to the application. This is the address where the completed form will go. And in case you have any clarification before you send the application, make sure to give them a call. Make sure you have all the right information when you're sending your application. This is the important information page. Go through at your own time. We'll be covering everything in the subsequent form filling. And the best way to do this is digitally, that is, open Acrobat Reader and start filling. You can take a printout, but then if you take a printout, you have to use black or blue ink pen and write clearly. The best way is to do this on a computer or a laptop and then print it after you do check, recheck, cross check. Coming to the application, personal information I have filled in to save some time. So what is your name? This is the name what you currently have. For example, Gopi Krishna, and then as the name is given, you enter that. I've just given an example how your name is, you enter that. Then the mailing address, okay, phone number, all those things gets filled. Then you must have lived in Ontario for last 12 months at least before applying for the name change. So for that you also need a guarantor who knows you for more than 12 months for the guarantor's signature. Here you will mention how many years you have been in Ontario and also months. So don't worry, as long as you are giving approximate and it is more than 12 months, it should be good. Then you enter your date of birth like the way it is shown here. And let's come down. Where were you born? You enter those details. These are easy ones. You will just have to go through any of the official document and then get the same thing here. And then what do you want your new name to be? This is where you will mention your new name. Like here from Gopi Krishna, Gopi Shri Krish. This is how the name this person wants. So that is entered. You leave this blank. Don't touch this. Then come down. Information about current marital status or relationship status. So here Gopi Krishna, who is changing the name, is married. So select yes. If you're single, you select no. and then you leave this blank. Since the person is married, selected yes, then wife's first name and last name. If you're not separated but not divorced, select yes. So once the year of marriage, date is mentioned like this, and then where did you get married? So those detail has to be declared. So once this is done, come down. If you're not married but you're in a conjugal relationship, you can go through this part. If it is yes, then your partner's name has to be given here and when that registration was done. This part you'll have to fill up if you meet this criteria. So here this person says no. So we'll go to directly next page, that is information about your parents. So here parents name is given. You see here father's first name, father's last name, that is entered. In case there is middle name, that will also have to be mentioned. And if the parent last name or single name were different from above, then that has to be mentioned. And if there was any previous legal last name, single name, that also has to be mentioned. So in this case, there has been no name change with the father, so same thing has been entered, and same goes with the mother. Then there are additional spaces for parents information. In this case, it's just father and mother, so no other details are required. If there are any additional spaces needed for parents information, you will have to photocopy this page and then complete and enclose with the application. So we'll come down here. Here information about your name change and any previous name changes. Why do you want to change your name? Print all the reason. So here I'm just giving an example from Gopi Krishna, Gopi Sri Krishna. This person is requesting because he prefers this name, and this change is important because it matters and it reflects identity and personal preference. So kept it easy, just a basic explanation. And then, have you ever changed your name before? In this case, it's no. If it is yes, you have to mention the year, month and day. Then only if there was any name change, you fill this part. Before name change, what was the name? After, what it was, and where it was changed. So that detail comes here. Then once you come down here, if your name was changed more than once, please photocopy this blank page, complete and enclose with application for every name change. Remember that. Have you ever applied for name change before and has been refused? The response is no here. You have to select your response, and then information about criminal offense. If there are any yes, then you have to fill the detail depending on the section 1, 2, 3, 4. All the responses here is no till 5. If there are anything yes, then you need to fill this police record check for name change. You have to download this and then get the police record done. In case your responses are no, then you don't require the police record check. Come down, financial information, again just like the above. Here the responses are no, so no detail to be filled. If there are anything, you read this carefully, and if there are any yes, then you need to provide details. So basically checks are being made that why the name change is happening. Is there any financial implication or a legal implication that you get to see here. Then part 2, giving notice about your name change. You need to fill this part only if you are married now or you have a signed joint declaration of conjugal relationship. So come down here, notice form. Here notice is given to, for this person, Meera Swami's wife. If it is partner, that name will come. Then person's first and last name as it is now, Gopi Krishna, and the new name, Gopi Shri Krishna, then the full mailing address. So here the applicant Gopi Krishna will have to sign the document with the current name as the signature is, and then date signed. So that will get mentioned. Once you come down, this is the acknowledgement of notice of change which the spouse or partner gives. So in this case, they both are at the same location. So the name is entered, spouse name, address, and then I am married to spouse of the applicant. If it is partner, this gets selected, and signature date. So in case spouse is legally not separated, in that case, you would still send this part, and then you would send without this acknowledgement notice. But when you're sending this part to your spouse or partner, Make sure you're sending it by the post, which you can track, and attach that as a reference and send this document. So that part is done. Getting consent to your change of name. This is for someone who is 16 or 17-year-old and who is not married. So make sure you're reading this carefully. And then here, to be filled by the applicant, the person signing the statutory declaration in part 6 of the application. Remember that name, last name, middle name, all that detail will be entered, and then what is going to be the new name, date of birth will get entered, and then the full mailing address. So once this is filled, this has to be filled by the person with legal custody consenting to name change. So in this case, if it is parent, parent's name will get entered, and then the address, and then signature of person consenting. So anyone whose name comes here, they have to sign here and date when it is signed. Then let's come down. How long you have lived in Ontario, this has to be proved. So at least 12 months immediately before submitting your change of name application. Read this part carefully, and here you need to have a guarantor. I'll leave the link who can act as a guarantor, and the best would be to call Service Ontario and check in case you have any doubt. Applicant's current name is entered here. You can read this part, and then guarantor's first name, middle name, last name, mailing address, street, all those details gets entered, and occupation, how long you have known this person, month and year, that has to be mentioned, and as I said, it has to be more than 12 months. Then to your knowledge, how long has this person listed at top of the page be ordinarily resident in Ontario. So that date has to be mentioned, then signature of the guarantor and the sign. So once this part is done, let's come down. Part 5, application and document to be sent. So here they have mentioned if you are born in Ontario, if you were born in Ontario and legally changed your name in Ontario. So this is the proof of your current legal name to be sent along with the application as described below. If you were born in Canada, including Ontario. So if you are born in Ontario, send all previously issued original birth certificate or certified copy of birth registration long form birth certificate, original. Okay. If you are born outside Ontario but within Canada, submit either an original birth certificate or certified copy of birth registration long form. If you do not have birth certificate, apply for birth certificate and submit the certificate with this change of name application. So you'll have to do this part. I have made a separate video on how to apply for birth certificate. You can go and watch that. If you're born outside Canada, then you need to send a photocopy of original birth certificate or a photocopy of certified copy of birth registration from country of birth and photocopy of Canadian citizenship card, certificate, both side, or a photocopy of Canadian record of immigrant landing or a photocopy of permanent resident card, both side. Then photocopy of the passport used to enter Canada if still held by the applicant. If you don't have, then this is not required. And if applicable, all applicants are required to send photocopy of all change of name certificate or change of name document if you have had name legally changed before, whether it is in Canada or outside. And photocopy of all court orders that relate to custody, access or naming of the person whose name is being changed. And then if you are born outside Canada and for some reason you cannot obtain a photocopy of birth certificate issued by the country, in some cases it happens, in that case include a signed written explanation to why you were not able to provide it and what you have done to try to obtain it. We come down. This we already talked about, depending on your circumstances. Like part 1, 4, 5, 6, 7 will have to be sent by everyone, and depending on your circumstances, part 2 or part 3 will get included. That is one. Additional evidence to support change of name may be required. Photocopy of additional evidence may be acceptable. However, this office reserves the right to request original or certified copies. So once this document is all complete, we'll come down, signing your application. So this part has to be signed in front of a commissioner for taking the affidavit. And here I'm just showing an example, and I'll leave the link. I'm in Mississauga, and once I see the Service Ontario location, not all Ontario locations have this service. You see here the apostille and authentication document, here Commissioner of Oaths. So if you go to such location, it is done free of cost. Otherwise, you have to go through a lawyer who will charge money and then, get this thing done for you. So best is, before you go, give them a call and find out where is the nearest one where you can go and get this free of cost, either taking an appointment or doing a walk-in. Now, if you were born in Canada and Ontario, in that case, when the name change happens, your birth certificate will also get changed and come to you. So you can check this box if you don't want the sex to be displayed at the birth certificate. If you don't want, you can just leave as it is. Come down here. This is the statutory declaration form, which has to be signed in front of the commissioner. So as I said, if you go to a Service Ontario location where this facility is available, it will get done for free. Your name will be entered here and signature, declaration before me at here, the detail of the official who will be signing will be entered, and then seal and stamp and the authority and occupation of the person. So once this is done, the last part is the payment method. If you are sending, so you can pay by check, money order, that has to be made in name of Minister of Finance, or you can also use Visa or MasterCard, that is credit card only, to get this transaction done. Name you write and then you enter the information. So if it is adult, $137, and if the child is also applying along with the adult, in some cases it happens, then child pays $22. How many child, you make that mention here, so that in one transaction the money can go. But if it is individual, you just select adult, and if it is child individual only, then you pay $137. It is not $22. So it's only when both adult and child are applying together, 137 and 22 has to be paid. So as I said, check, recheck, cross check. You can call Service Ontario once to get this clarified, and once this entry is made, you enter the method of payment. If it is Visa or MasterCard, you enter the credit card detail, and don't worry, they don't ask for CVV. So only when the approval process goes through, this will be taken out of your card, and that way you know that the process is happening. If you're not comfortable with this, then you may have to go with check or money order, wherein you will incur some banking transaction charges for each of the applicant in addition to what you're going to pay. So once that is done, print the form and then send to this address. The best way is to send it by mail with a tracking number. That way you know that it has reached the destination correctly. That's the entire process. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any question, please use the comment section to ask the question, and I will direct you to the right resource. Thank you guys.